Hey, this is Will with Mortgage Heroes, and we have a special guest, Lloyd Stanford, joining us here from Friends of Mortgage Heroes. Lloyd, can you please tell us who you are? Well, obviously I already said that, but what you do and, what you're up to nowadays.
Well, I really appreciate that intro, Will. And as you mentioned, Lloyd Stanford. So I'm with Big Block Realty. I've been with Big Block almost 5 years now. So it's been moving pretty quick, but it's been a great ride. I just most recently retired from the Navy after 32 years. So Veterans Day is surreal because I'm actually now on the other side of being a Navy veteran, and I enjoy that as well. But again, I've been with the real estate and been enjoying myself.
That's right. Happy Veterans Day. And man, hey, thank you so much for your service. 32 years.
Yes.
I'm sure probably everybody asks, like, how did you do that, right? And so, which leads me to my question is, how did you get started with real estate? Was it similar to like the military? What got you started, or?
Recruiting.
Yeah, recruiting.
So the way I got started with real estate, I've always been interested in whether it be buying, selling, properties. I've always just been interested in it. And, as being in the Navy, being in a leadership position, I've always put others before myself, as in making sure I was taking care of my sailors, all of my personnel that I was in charge of, because it would be times that I'd be in charge of at least 3,000 people at one time.
3,000.
Yes.
Wow.
So I could barely tolerate just Andy and Brian.
Yeah, him just trying to manage one person, me, is already like the equivalent of 3,000 possibly, but that's not to undermine 3,000. So 3,000 people are under your command.
Yes, so I retired as a Command Master Chief.
Wow.
I'm so sorry I said that. Command Master Chief.
And so as, going through, continuously taking care of others and making sure that the mission was being accomplished, I never took the time to do a lot for myself. So at one point, it just was an epiphany. I just said, you know what? I need to get my license and start dabbling in doing things for myself to reach out and assist sailors, soldiers, airmen, military, and just anyone for that matter in a different way.
I like that. I like that word mission.
Yeah.
How you put in it. You use that mission, helping everybody who you were and who was under your command. And now here you are using that same word, applying it into your business.
Correct.
That's pretty awesome.
Correct.
Yeah. So, what's something that is like, obviously having 32 years in the Navy and being in such a position of influence and leadership, there's got to be a couple things that have really stood out to you that are just leadership traits or leadership qualities that have translated well into your professional career in real estate. What are a couple that really stand out to you that translate from your time in service?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, and I really appreciate it. So one, if not a few things that stood out and just have stood out over the course of time is just leading from the heart. So doing things for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And not because it's popular, but you think about what you're doing and think about the other person on the receiving end. What if this was me? What if I was going through this? And by being in the Navy as long as I have and had been in, I was able to relate to majority of my sailors' situations and issues because once upon a time, I had to go through that myself. So I'm not far removed from understanding that I get it.
Yeah.
And so just never forget where you came from, Andy.
You walked a mile in those shoes already.
Correct.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Correct. Just never forget where you came from and just continue just to, again, I say it all the time, but you lead from the heart.
So can you think of like a defining moment? And I'm sure it's probably hard to think of one thing. Maybe there's a couple of different things, but have there been like maybe some defining milestones or moments during a military career that were pivotal points where you can go, oh, that thing, that changed me and I'm better for it now?
And those that have been through this process is what we, on the enlisted side, when you start off as an E1, which is the very beginning, and you go all the way through the ranks, is making Chief Petty Officer. And that's the rank of E7 in the Navy. And so for those that aspire and get to that position of being a Chief Petty Officer, that is one of the, I actually get it now. Things have opened up for you in your career that you never thought was even possible.
Wow.
And you have just leaped in boundaries to so many different levels that it's so surreal, honestly. And it humbles you and allows you to look inside yourself and to understand that it's not about you, it's about others.
Wow.
And that's
you
what we
just give me
instill.
the chills.
Wow.
Lloyd, I just love how you're really pouring your heart into this. Like, you're the real deal. 32 years. I'm sure a lot of your fellow people who you were under you, they just got to be missing you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They got to be
now.
missing you. I'm sure they're probably out there, And it's just so wonderful because I see you. I personally work with you, and I personally see that you bring that same attitude over to your real estate business, your profession. And that's what I find to be very, I enjoy working with you because you're very passionate in that.
I appreciate that. And those that know me and understand the concept of being a chief, I'm still chiefing.
Yeah.
Nothing stopped.
I like that.
No, that's so important right there.
I'm still chiefing.
Like don't let that moment go by like that, because
No.
that doesn't end just because you're tired doesn't mean that stops. That's a quality that's inside you now. That's the quality that carried you through, and now it's come to the private side too, if you will.
Exactly.
That's
Definitely.
awesome. That's awesome.
The civilian side, I should say, not the private side.
Oh
but-
yeah, that's why my boys make their beds every morning, because I make mine as well too. So
Yeah.
that's how you start off. Make your bed in the morning.
Yeah, there you go. If
always
that's
say-
the one thing you take from today's show, make your freaking bed in the morning.
Yeah, they always say if you have a horrible day, you're the first thing you want to do is you want to do your bed. So
Yeah.
that if you have a horrible day,
Yeah.
at least you could go home to a
Yeah, no wrinkles, tight
made
sheets.
bed.
bed,
Clean
right,
corners.
made bed.
So maybe okay, take us through a little bit of this journey of transition though, because you've had this entire more than half your life being in the military.
Incredible.
And then looking down the horizon and the landscape, going, okay, I'm gonna end up walking across this threshold, and I'm going to go into this new career. Like, what was that like for you?
Yeah.
Was that easy? Did that come with some challenges? Did you encounter anything that you're like, oh, I was surprised by the way I felt when this was happening?
Well, Andy, that's why I started well before it was time to separate. So while I was on active duty, I started doing real estate 4 years into being remaining on active duty. So I knew post Navy that I wanted to be a real estate agent and assist others. So I learned as much as I could, got good mentors, and I give a shout out to Herb Knox because he always took care of me when it came down to that.
Yeah.
So the same concept again as the military. Don't lose that foundation. You find someone that's already doing it. You ask them some pointers. Find you a mentor out there, and from there you jump on board. Tweak and peak it to what is going to be now your way of doing business. But at the end of the day, the recipe's already there.
Right.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Now it's just the point of just getting the concept down. And once you, I was allowed to understand it, go to school, get good training.
Yeah.
I'm off to the races. Let's
There
go.
you go. You tied rafts.
I think that's really important for people to understand and take away from this is you said tweak and peak, which I've never actually heard that in that same. I understand what you meant, but right away when you said tweak and peak, I'm like, oh, that's such a brilliant, easy way to say that and remember it. But I think that's important for people to understand. Like, there is a way to onboard a career by taking a long on ramp. So many things I think we just try to do instantaneously or spontaneously or like knee-jerk reaction. I'm just going to go do this right away. And you make this massive deviation in life or career. But what you're talking about is, learning from those who have gone before you, those who have that track, or they've gone that path, they're pathfinders and they've gone ahead. And you can not necessarily coattail, but you can draft off of what they've already done, glean from that experience, and then make your way onto that same path that they're on.
Right. Definitely. And I've surrounded myself with talent. So again, anytime that you're trying to achieve something, in order to achieve, you have to believe.
Wow.
So with that said, what I did was I just harbor around everyone else that was around me in the same way as going through the ranks of the Navy and the military. You just continuously surround yourself around good people because iron sharpens iron every day.
Man.
And so once I was able to
Proverbs
get the grasp
27:17.
and concept, yes, it is. You just learn and grow. And by all means, I'm still continuing to grow. But I would tell you this. None of us have it all figured out.
Oh, no.
So at the end of the day, just continue to realize that you're going to grow. You're going to have stumbling blocks. But at the end of the day, just continue to move forward.
Wow.
Because it's about taking care of the people. That's
So
really what
somebody's
it's about.
saying, hey, I'm at work and I'm juggling too many balls here, working at my principal job and then doing real estate. I mean, it seems like you've been handling this quite a bit. Easy. Seems pretty easy. Or
I just make it
has
look
it had
easy.
its challenge? Yeah.
I just make it look easy.
Yeah.
The
Hey, so
grind
th-
doesn't stop.
32 years experience makes it look easy.
Right.
Also, I'm a den leader in the Boy Scouts, basketball practice. So don't get it misunderstood. I have a lot going on as well.
Yeah.
But wait. The day only has 24 hours.
Not Lloyd's day. Lloyd's day sounds like I got like 100 hours in a day.
No, I still have 24, but you got to use those 24 to
Yeah.
the optimal advantage.
Yeah, maximize them. Wow.
Yes.
Congratulations. I'm seeing you become very successful and obviously in everything you do. I actually had the privilege of going to your retirement ceremony. And, when the captain spoke about who you are and what you've represented, it was amazing to hear that you were a 1%er in what you're doing. That was to me like, and then you're so humble. I'm like, I'm invited to this? Like, this is just crazy. How does a guy like me get invited to something, to be a part of something as big as it is for you?
Well, I will say I appreciate you coming. And for those that did come and were a part of it, at the end of the day, it's not about me. And it's never been about me. And that's what I always realize. I understand that. So by no means that I were able to accomplish anything without the sake of having God on my side. And then also ensuring that, again, those that I followed path or got mentorship from, I listened and paid attention. Because it's great to get advice from people. But if you don't listen to pay attention, then what good is getting the advice?
Right.
So,
That's awesome.
I just took things in and made it to my own and moved forward and just had a phenomenal career. And of course, what I would tell you as far as military members, the support of your spouse. So there's no way possible I could have accomplished any of this as far as my career without T, which is my wife, Toshiko, to support any and everything that I was doing as far as endeavors.
That's awesome, man. And you're so inspiring. I'm sorry. You're so inspiring. What would you tell somebody that's actually going through the same thing, getting out of the military or is in the military and wants to pursue real estate? What would be your advice?
Well, if you are getting out of the military, I would say don't. But if
Stop right there.
You really are pursuing that, I would tell you, for one, think about why you're getting out. Okay, ensuring that you know the need behind the need.
Okay.
A lot of people, they have a tendency to, I want to get out and, just kind of following someone else's lead or, hey, I can't, this doesn't work for me. But at the end of the day, you got to work somewhere. So if you can make the military work, okay, and it's specifically the Navy, then I feel like you can work anywhere and make anything work. Okay, so for one, realize what, again, the need is behind the need of why you're planning to separate. So if you do separate, just like anything else with the military, the way you were learned and grew and understand the sake of OJT, which is on-the-job training, whether it's, finding a mentor. Because the thing about accomplishing goals, find someone that's already doing it, that's already accomplished, and just
go.
Yeah. Just because there's a line formed at the door doesn't mean you got to get in it, right?
Exactly. So just find you that mentor out there and get that guidance. But ensure you're doing it from the heart. A lot of people see the things behind the scenes with the real estate. Oh, you're making money and you're doing this and doing that. If you're ever making decisions based on money, then you're doing it wrong. It should be based on what's good for your client.
Gotcha.
And if you ever have to think of it in a way that, what's in it for me, then I would tell you to hang your head up and leave.
That's such an important point, because I think there's a number of things we could probably point to that maybe shine a light on maybe what the glorious outcomes of making money in real estate are. But that doesn't come like without hard work. Hard work comes with every single transaction, every single deal, every single month, quarter, year. No deal is without its difficulties. And so I think that a lot of times from the outside looking in, people are getting sold a bad bag of like, oh, it's all glamorous all the time. It's super easy. You can wear whatever clothes you want, shop for everything you got, and you're going to be super rich. That's not the truth for everybody. And even for those who that is true too, there's still a lot of hard work that goes behind that, and I think that goes undermined a lot in the snapshot Instagram TV world we live in. Oh, it's glamorous. You know what? There's a lot of hard work that goes into it.
Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah.
You can't be shy of that hard work as well too, but understand it is on behalf of your client.
Yeah. So what's something that maybe you've done when times have been difficult or you're in a challenging situation? What's something that you found yourself having to do either personally or as your person in the profession to overcome some of those challenges?
Great question. I appreciate you asking that. So again, I use a lot of my decision making based on the foundation of the military. Okay. And what I mean by that is, a lot of people are, when it comes to if you and a fellow agent don't quite see eye to eye, or if it's someone that's abrasive, then you kill them with kindness. You honestly do. Okay, so you still need to be professional. You still need to understand that keeping this together works out for both sides.
Gotcha.
And sometimes in transactions with real estate, deals might start going in different directions.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you got to realize that you're working on behalf of others. So you have to put your own personal feelings, your own thoughts aside and understand the sake of, it's not about me.
Yeah.
And let me just make sure that I'm doing this for the right reasons. And that's all things. And I will tell you this as well, communication. Communication is the key, just like in any other organization.
Yeah.
But you have to communicate good news and
The bad news.
bad news.
Yes, right.
And a lot of people don't like to do that. But
Yeah.
you honestly just have to just lay it out and be transparent.
Yeah.
And if you're transparent with both sides,
Yeah.
then at the end of the day, as we say in the military, don't be the senior person with the secret.
Yeah. No senior. So someone
good.
told me a long time. I'm gonna have to remember who this was, but they said good news unshared it doesn't help, and bad news unshared certainly doesn't help.
Yeah.
And it might not be popular to say the not so well news, but at the end of the day, it has to be said.
Right. It's still true whether you tell it or you don't. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so bring us up to like kind of where we're at now in your career and what you're doing.
Yeah.
How are you helping people? What are some of the things that you have been really fulfilled by in this career so far?
That's a good one.
So far, I feel, especially on the buyer side,
Yeah.
when you're able to assist, and myself with the help of Mortgage Heroes, about 2 years ago, we had a client, and this client was the first client in her family that was able to purchase a home. Over the years, no one else was able to do it. And it was 3 generations
Wow.
of this family, as in her daughter, her brothers, and her mom. And she was able to, and by the way, she was an E4,
E4.
which is a very low pay grade in the Navy. It's a very, very great
That's like
pay
2,
grade.
maybe even
but
2-3 years in, right?
A young E4 with 2 years in.
2 years.
Wow.
And she bought a home and was able to provide for her and, again, 3 generations
Wow.
of her household. And she was the very first one to ever buy a home in her household. And we, as in the lender and myself,
Yeah.
did what we could do to ensure that her and her family were able to purchase that home
Yeah.
and obtain the keys. And I will tell you, when I passed the keys over to this young lady and her mom, they just broke down crying.
Wow. Yeah.
And any and anything that you can do in life,
Yeah.
once you have experienced that moment,
Yeah. They
that
had
was
tears.
a moment that
There's
you
tears.
can't go past.
Wow.
And that is the reason why I do what I do.
Wow.
So it don't have to be the fact that I get a thank you or gratitude, but when you're able to affect lives. And that's what we're doing essentially. The same way I affected lives in the military, now that I'm post, nothing's changing.
Yeah.
So now I want everyone to realize and understand
Yeah.
that I am there on their behalf even more so, because now I'm retired. I want to ensure that I might not be on active duty and doing the day-to-day part of the mission, but my mission now is to ensure that all of my clients, whether it be in the state of California, in any state,
Yeah.
we actually just closed in Virginia today.
Yes.
So I have clients that closed in
Congratulations.
Virginia. We didn't even have to step foot in Virginia, but we took care of our clients that closed in Virginia, and also they're gonna sold their home there, their PCS and transferring.
Yeah.
And by the way, congratulations to my client that
Yeah.
was promoted to ensign. He's going to go to school for 30 days in
Yeah.
Rhode Island, and him and his family will have a home here in Chula Vista, California, sight unseen, but it was all about trust
Wow.
and trust in the process.
Yes.
Wow.
So that by itself is a lot of responsibility. So I don't take my responsibility lightly.
And I will also say, so again, you're not going to say this about yourself, but think about what that has to look like for somebody to trust someone in Lloyd's position with the amount and the weight of the volume of the choices they made and all the processes and the steps in between a real estate transaction, that they trust you that much. Like that don't let yourself let that get overlooked on you though. That is a tremendous reflection of their trust capacity for
Correct.
you and how much you've earned in them in that to do that for their family, Lloyd. That's outstanding.
Well,
That's
this story
to be commended.
This story that Lloyd shares also, remember, he wasn't even in Florida, but they sold their home. These buyers were selling their home. Lloyd managed relationships matter, and we know relationships matter a lot. Lloyd was able to connect them with somebody he knew that he actually assisting. You can
Yes.
actually share more of that story, but this just gets better. This is the stuff that people, when they're looking out from their heart, how they really help represent sellers and buyers.
And so, short snippet of that story, the clients were not getting what they needed from the current buyer's agent. Nothing against any buyer's agent out there, but at the end of the day, either you're working or you're not. And so they weren't getting what they were needing, and it was a stalemate. And so I knew of a agent, which is one of my counterparts in Virginia, that I was able to call and reach out and say, you know what, we have sailors, shipmates in need.
Yeah.
Can you assist?
Yeah.
And she was all over it. And so we assisted them with the sake of putting their home back on the market and canceling with this other agent that things weren't working out for. put their home back on the market.
Yeah.
got
And
it
let
on
me
escrow
stop
and
you
sold
this
it.
because you're so modest, right? But they had their home listed prior to the
Yes.
new agent
Right.
for how long?
I want to say it was about 45 days, 45 to 50 days.
All right.
Well, and it was not under contract with
Correct.
the other agent, with the previous agent.
No.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. Again, this is more reflection of how much. Okay, go.
You see, so
Yeah.
And then you put them with your counterpart.
Yes.
How soon before they got in escrow?
We was in escrow in about 6 days. yeah, 6 days.
So again, we're going back where we're tying wraps with people that are similar, like-minded, that are
Right.
representing the best interests on behalf of our client. And look what that was just. When I heard that story, it was amazing. I was like, Lloyd, not just tap yourself on the back, but come on.
Wow.
Like,
I just saw an opportunity to thread the needle, and so I thread the needle.
yeah.
So I started threading.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, it sounds like you have all these strengths. What would you say is one of your weaknesses?
Well, one of my weaknesses, I just need to ensure that I manage my time when it comes down to, because I put so many others before myself.
Okay.
So a lot of times I don't take time for myself to do things.
Yeah.
Okay.
But everyone needs you.
Correct. So, between family and real estate and previous service members, so I have a lot to juggle, but a lot of times I don't take a lot of time for myself just to pause and enjoy the moments.
Exactly.
Because I'm just go, go, go. I'm like an Energizer bunny. So I'm built to last.
I like that. And
think
thanks for that, because for the years that I've known you and met you, it's like, what weakness does he have? Like, what does he even think that is? So we all have our vulnerabilities, you know what I mean? And so I'm glad that you share that.
And one of the things I think I'm taking from this conversation today is that in a variety of different things you've already said, there's this commonality of optimization that I sense that you're not using that word optimization, but the things you're describing and how you're talking characterize that very much so.
Well, I will tell you, I don't believe in bad days. That's just how I'm wired.
Bad days are not for me. Okay, got it.
Because you woke
someone
up-
else can have that.
No,
Pass
for
it
us,
on
just
to
the
me.
sake of just being able to wake up and open your eyes. Then everything else after that is gravy. Let's go. Let's get after it every day.
Yeah.
So every day is an opportunity to outdo yourself.
Wow.
Because you're in competition with yourself, not anybody else. So if you had a great day yesterday, you know what? That can't be it.
Yeah.
You got to have a better day tomorrow. So you just to drive on that and ride on that wave
Yeah.
at the end of the day. And this is just not coffee either, because I don't even drink coffee. So this is just me.
Oh, this is before caffeine? God, okay.
Actually,
Okay.
This is not even caffeine. Because people ask, do you drink coffee? So I never drank coffee the whole entire time I was in the Navy for 32 years.
Wait a
Wow.
minute. Hold on. But didn't you have you had to have a mug?
Yeah, I did, but I didn't use it. I put pens in there. I put pens and
mug.
pencils in there.
This mug is not for coffee.
yeah, the typical mug.
So, but again, it's all about just spreading positive energy.
Yes.
Okay? So good people surround themselves around good people at the end of the day. So if you surround yourself around 5 people that are doing like-minded things,
Yeah.
then we've talked about this before. You should, if you have a brain, start moving in that direction of doing like-minded things. So in negativity, that's not a part of what I want to be about. I want to be around.
Yeah, you ain't got time for that.
No. So positive energy, I want to get my military members in their home of choice to help them to build on that equity and building in that direction of home ownership.
I like that.
So let's talk about that, because I want to get to a part where there's some things happening in real estate now that we have not seen in our careers. William and I have both been around this business for 18 years now. You have your 32-year career in the Navy, and then your 4 years in real estate. But you bring a lot of wisdom and discernment to your profession.
Yes.
Without naming a specific thing to lead into this question, like what are the things that are you're most optimistic about in the current market, and what are the things that kind of got you side eyes a little bit, like not sure how it's going to work out?
Yeah.
Okay, so the optimistic, you have to stay steady, because rates, they're going to go up and down. So I know a lot of clients, they reach out to me, hey, I want to wait until the rates go down. And by no means do I want to talk anyone into anything that they're not ready to do.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, you have to realize that if you can afford your home and you can make the payment based on that BH that we receive from the military, then I would recommend that you use that BH to benefit you and your family in the most best way possible and maximize your benefits.
Yeah.
Because being under the umbrella of the military, you have benefits.
Yeah.
So why not maximize those benefits? Over the course of 32 years, I had the opportunity to buy homes, sell homes, and all of that. But what I would tell you, if I could turn the clock back, Andy, I probably would have purchased a home a lot sooner.
Oh, wow.
And I would have held it, kept moving, maybe rented it out. I don't know. But me and my spouse, T, we bought at least 4 homes actually, over the course of 32 years.
Gotcha.
Where we bought, sold. But if I, again, could turn the clock back, I would do it earlier in my career.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things we talk about a lot as well, Will, is you don't get this training or this information in the military.
Mm-hmm.
We really don't have classes that really just sit you down and let you understand the sake of, yes, we have budgeting, we have financial management courses, but more just getting into the grains of, hey, investing, what I need to do with my money, what's the best right move now?
Yeah.
Okay, because yes, you're E1, E2, but if you progress on, you will not stay at E1 and E2.
Of course.
So
just like anything in life.
as time moves on, you're going to get promotions, you're going to make more money. Yeah. So why not invest, if you can, now into you and your family's future?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow.
So what's something that maybe has you kind of questioning the health of real estate? Like, what are you looking at that's maybe, I guess the best word I'm thinking of in the moment is threat. What kind of risk analysis are you looking at out for people? Obviously, can they make or not make the payment? Great point about the BAH, by the way, because you're going to spend it one way or another, whether you're renting, giving it to military housing, or you're paying a mortgage. You're getting it because it's supposed to be spent.
That's right.
It's dedicated funds, if you will. But what's something that maybe you are cautioning people about or getting them to kind of keep an eye open for in the current environment and landscape real estate?
Well, I would say just continue to stay involved and understand what's going on in the market.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't put yourself in a situation that you're not going to be able to pay your mortgage. Mm-hmm. No one wants to be that. It's called house poor, right? Mm-hmm. So no one wants to put themselves in that situation. Yeah. But I would tell you if you have questions or concerns, sitting on the couch is not going to do anything either. So reach out, whether it's myself, our preferred lender, Will, Andy, and we can help you and at least guide you in the right direction as far as what's the right move. Because actually we had a client, 2 months ago, you remember our client where I referred our client to you and you actually just laid it out and said, actually right now is not a good time for you to purchase.
Correct.
Because this particular client had some personal debt and some personal finances that they had to take care of. Yeah. But instead of trying to steer them down the wrong path, why don't you wait? We will be here, no pressure, but this is not a good time.
Yeah, we're just like the military, create an action plan to get them for the betterment of them.
So on that side of, to answer your question fully, the inventory is low, and it has been for a while. So those that are thinking about and want to buy, then they probably need to actually move forward with that because, again, if rates and when rates do come down, because they have the tendency to a bell curve, right?
Yeah.
Then more people are going to be going towards purchasing if they see the rates go down.
Yeah.
So this is a good time for you to at least take a look at all things. What's the right move for you and your family? Because again, if the inventory is low and when prices do, and not even price, I'm sorry, if the rates come down, then the prices probably won't come down. Now you're going to have just what we had 2 to 3 years ago. More money is being put towards those homes because if you got 20 people looking for one home,
right,
then
not 19 are left out.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
It's
not going to work. And then on the seller's side, for those that's PCSing, then think about the fact that selling your home, and we had clients where they stayed in the home 2 to 3 years. I helped them buy back in 2000. They sold this past spring in 2023, and they actually walked away with a nice net proceed and moved to another location.
Wow.
So that BAH was helping them and assisting them to pay their mortgage. Mm-hmm. So essentially, that net was their net. Because you have to pay to live somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you were able to gain and still walk away with a net and put money down on another home, then it's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Leverage at its best.
Yeah.
So no, great stories. I'm just like, what happened next? I mean, these are wonderful stories. These are great. So, what would you say is something that has really stood out besides helping the daughter, seeing the teary eyes? What do you think has been a story that you're kind of like, that could have been handled maybe a little different, or maybe maybe the client shouldn't have bought a home?
Well, no one has really came back after the fact and said, hey, this was probably a bad move. But what I will tell you is I have had clients that bought a home, and a year later, the home up in Wisconsin.
Okay.
Where
yes. I remember
that particular client found that they were unable to afford it because they went in with a few roommates.
Yeah.
So they had a few roommates, and here's the deal about roommates. Roommates' name is not on the
on the loan application.
Or the contract.
Correct.
So at the end of the day, if your roommates bail out on you, then you're stuck with the mortgage. And we all say, well, they shouldn't have did that or whatever. But at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Right? And so in hindsight, obviously we would do a lot of things different. But this particular case, this member came to me and said, hey, you know what? I probably shouldn't have bought. I need to sell.
Got it.
And so we had to do as much research and help out as much as possible to assist to ensure that they wouldn't be in the negative.
Correct.
Because they weren't even in the home 2 years. And that goes into capital gains.
Right.
So we had to assist where we could and help out as much as possible to ensure that they were not in a position. Because, again, we're talking about when it's time to buy or sell a home, there's a lot of money on the table. Mm-hmm. Okay? And there's a lot of things happening all at once. And so people get fearful. They get overwhelmed. And so that's what we're here for, to guide you through the process. Ensure that you have everything you need to not, hopefully, make one of the worst decisions of your life, because we're hoping for this to be the best decision of your life by supporting you and ensuring that you meet those goals at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I wanted to make sure that before we go any further in the show, I wanted to make sure that we take a pit stop real quick, because I recognize something you put on social media, that you actually have a magazine that now comes out.
Yes.
Is that every month? How often does that come out, by the way?
Yes, it's going to be every 3 months. So
every 3 months.
Come
okay.
out right before the holidays.
Okay,
Yes.
it's a quarterly magazine.
Yes.
Okay, so you got a quarterly magazine coming out, and then for people who might have questions for you specifically because of their own military experience, never using their VA benefit before, what's the best way for people to reach you to talk about all those things?
Okay, so I'm on social media, so if you need to contact me there, you can. My email is Lloyd Stanford. Stanford like university, don't spell it wrong. So Lloyd Stanford, STANFORD, 99@gmail.com.
Okay.
And then also my number, this phone number hadn't changed in 23 years, but my phone number is 757-577-1122. Pretty easy phone number too to remember.
Yeah, it is.
But at the end of the day, I just want to be a wealth of knowledge and information for anyone that needs assistance. No pressure, but if you need help or assistance, allow me and my team to guide you through the process.
And there's something else that I want to make sure everyone knows that's like listening and watching today, that you had recently committed to doing one-on-one educational seminars. Now, there's a not tradition, maybe it's just a tactic that in real estate and mortgage, we do seminars and we teach how to use your VA entitlement and what that looks like, how to prepare to buy a home and things like that. Now, those for a long time have been done in person, group gatherings, but you're offering something different. Tell me a bit about your strategy there and how people can approach you for that.
Okay, so with the one-on-one, it's more so geared towards, because, sometimes you're in that group setting as far as those seminars, and you're hesitant to raise your hand and ask a question.
Yeah, because you don't want to be wrong.
You don't want to be that person, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody looks at you, and I get it. No matter how old you are, you still end up dealing with the fear of
I'm one of those.
Raising your hand.
Is that going to be a dumb question?
Right. So if you have a one-on-one session, then you're able to sit back and be comfortable, because if you already know me, then you know how I operate, and we can have an open dialogue. And if you don't, by now, if you haven't realized you can have open dialogue with me, then you're not paying attention to the video.
Exactly.
But what I want everyone to know is this is your time now to just have that one-on-one and get your questions asked specifically, because a lot of times when you're in those group settings, if you're waiting on someone else to ask you a question, it might not come around.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, that's a good point. People go over that. People miss that point.
Yeah, everybody has a different circumstance.
After the fact, the person that's giving the presentation is now bombarded at the end,
right?
And everybody's standing in line to ask questions,
right?
Well, they offered the opportunity to ask a question during the seminar, and then if you stand there long enough, you really don't want to wait, and so you just walk away.
Yeah.
And now your questioning,
right,
goes unanswered.
I really like that. I really like that approach. That one-on-one. It's a lot of times it's what we need. So we really understand where I'm at. You know,
Right.
not where everyone else is at, but like where I'm at.
And I think there's some of it too where, I can probably imagine there's some people that maybe they have a specific question that pertains to them that they don't need everybody else knowing
Yes.
about, that they still need to have an answer for.
Correct.
So, I've got all this situation here and this and that and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be saying that in front of everybody else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they want to put their business in the street.
Right.
There you
right.
Put your business in the street.
So
Yeah.
how are you doing this? Are you going to do a Zoom? Are you going to just do a phone call? Like what's the
Whatever's
preferred
convenient
method?
for the client. If we want to do a face-to-face, a lot of times that's a better dialogue as far as a Zoom. So I'm available. We can set up any time, and whether if you're on the East Coast, Central Standard Time, we can work something out where we just schedule it, Zoom, and get your questions answered. We're talking maybe 15 or 30 minutes. You'd be surprised in a 15-minute session what you can cover and the things that you can actually get answered.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
That's
Well, and
pretty
I
cool. That's
remember.
very clever.
I remember for many years we had encountered people that they come to an appointment thinking of the question. They think, oh, I'm supposed to ask this or that. But then when we start figuring out like what really matters to you, like it's almost like they come to the appointment with this preconceived notion of, oh, I'm going to a mortgage or real estate office. I should probably ask this, and this. Like just because those are prescribed by the mass audience, that doesn't mean that's pertinent to yourself.
And another one thing about those seminars, I think sometimes people are shy to go to them as well because they feel like they're going to get sold something,
yeah.
or they're going to have to, sign up, and they're going to just
Right.
continue to get blast emails.
Sure.
But this is not what it will be.
It's a
Yeah.
timeshare.
It's,
Come to Lloyd's
wouldn't do you
seminar.
like
You
that?
can
It's a timeshare.
enter a raffle to win a free toaster.
This brings me to one of my favorite quotes from Theodore Roosevelt. Nobody knows, nobody cares what you know until they know you care. You
Yes,
know? And
definitely.
I feel like you bring a lot of that to the table.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Which is really awesome,
Yeah,
And
just
thank
want to do
you.
right by people, and
Absolutely.
just at the end of the
I
day,
see that.
if I can utilize any of my services to help out those in need by any way possible, I'm open kimono.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I like
Open.
that.
Come on. First time on the show. Mark that as history. Open kimono. Never heard that before. That is great. I can't wait to use this as a clip.
Well,
Open kimono. Let's
We're
go.
getting close to wrapping this up. Lloyd, if you're wearing my shoes, is there any question you felt I didn't ask and I probably should have asked you?
Well, I just want to, everyone to know that I'm there on their behalf. And we talked about that, but I want to know, just based on my experience and the things that I've gone through throughout 32 years. And I keep harping on the 32 years because, for one, you just don't blink 32 years, okay? And so I serve my country, and I serve my country with blood, sweat, and tears. And I'll tell you a little bit of everything was thrown at that. Been overseas, numerous countries, in harm's way, underway deployments, away from family for extended amount of time, whether it be years, whether it be months. So I want you to understand that I am available and I know where you're coming from.
Wow.
I've walked in your shoes. I don't have it all figured out by no means, but I want to let my clients, whether it be past, present, or future clients, to understand that I get it. I've been PCSing with a dog. You had to pack the family up, newborn on one hip, 5-year-old. So you got to ship a vehicle.
Dragging a refrigerator out the door, yeah.
So trust me, we have been there, done that. Overseas, all the forms you got to fill out, the screening for medical.
Wow.
You name it, we have the T-shirt.
Yeah.
What I want to tell you is I haven't forgotten the concept of PCS, transferring, and preparing yourself for the next right move for you and your family.
Wow.
So allow me to help you to help yourself.
That's very inspiring and encouraging, especially, for somebody that maybe they're just looking for that, how do I do it? And so it's great that you share that information, and thank you, Lloyd, for doing that. What about like somebody that's looking in the same shoes as you? I am in the military. I want to do real estate. And obviously a lot of people are going to hear and see this podcast and going to be inspired. Do they contact you? How do they go about
and
this?
I've actually referred 3 to 4 to brokerages, and they're active agents now as we speak. So it's just now the fact of setting that foundation. If you want to set up again, we can do a Zoom when it comes down to just helping you go through the steps. As I mentioned earlier, I don't have it all figured out, but I can give you a few tools to the toolbox to allow you to at least grasp on some of the things that I did in order for things to be successful.
Wow.
So I'm available. for anyone on that side of the house too when it comes down to
You
if
know,
you
that's
do want to
cool.
pursue it.
Not just about buyers, sellers, somebody that wants to join the industry, that just has a dream of doing it, you know? And here you are very successful at what you did in the military.
Yes.
And then you brought that same mentality into your profession. And I'm telling you, this guy is something else.
And it's about, don't talk about it, be about it. Get off the couch.
Real deal.
I think we ended with that.
That's it.
That is awesome.
That's a solid in right there, Lloyd. Thank you so much
Lloyd,
for joining
thank
us
you.
today.
We appreciate
that
you.
was rad.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for all the gems you dropped on the show. This has been another great episode of the Friends of Mortgage Heroes. Thank you all for watching and listening. Thank you so much to our guest today, Lloyd Stanford.
Thanks for having me, guys.
For all you that want to reach Lloyd, you can look in the comments in the description box of whatever platform you're looking at, and you will find Lloyd's contact information. Thank you for joining us, Lloyd, and we will see you all again with another episode next week.
Next week.